Okay, so I'd like to discuss something that is very important to your vitality, because that's what this whole kind of window of time is about, is increasing your vitality. Spring equinox and fall equinox is just different. It's a little bit of a different kind of vibe depending on your hemisphere, but both of them are about a metabolic shift, and all of the ancient medicines, Tibetan, Chinese, and Ayurveda, are based on these kind of seasonal shifts that happen in us because we're cyclical, and because the whole kind of psychomagnetic field shifts with all sorts of earth changes. They're saying that normally when we have sun flares, it's like around some measurement of like 14 or 15 of these kind of electromagnetic pulses, and for weeks on end it's been around 35. So there's a lot of earth changes happening right now, and there's a lot of changes happening to you. And the pressure on the... Guru Jagat is trying to FaceTime me. Okay. Hey, girl. So there, a lot of the pressure that's happening right now, people are having a very, challenging time. And one of Yogi Bhajan's fundamental teachings is that you have a reserve life force. And if you understand how to utilize it and then how to replenish it, even more importantly, then you will have a healthy, vital, and awake life into whatever chronology you want to live to. Yogi Bhajan said, only in the West is it thought that vitality goes down at like midlife. It's a messed up kind of twisted Western thought because of the way that we treat ourselves. And I was watching this documentary on like how they can use 3D printers now to create skin. And all sorts of other very weird kind of things that are happening out there in the secret laboratories, and not so secret. This is whatever they're telling us, that's like much more kind of weird cloning and advanced stuff going on. And so in this, it showed, okay, like these types of technologies are going to allow for organ replacements to be so easy that you can just like party, and just get a new liver. Yeah, exactly. No big deal. Just like, just in and out. It's like a day, And it's like they're actually printing livers through 3D printers. No, the future is going to be very interesting. But so this whole concept of like, let's just burn ourselves out because we can replace the parts, right? And I'm from a family of people who have never owned a new car. I bought a new car in 2013. I was the first person in my whole family for generations since cars were created to buy a new car. Like, it was like they were really offended. Because we take care of the cars, and my stepfather has like 5 Volvos that he obsessively, like, he doesn't want to put the miles on one, so he puts it. It's a whole kind of situation. So we have a reserve force in us, and it's called our youth. It's called our vitality, and another word for it is called Ojas. Ojas is this energy, this life force energy that is a part of our sexual vitality, our mental vitality, our emotional resilience, and obviously our physical vitality as well. And so when I get back from Nicaragua, we're going to talk about sex. We're going to have this training on sex. And I want you to get that this Ojas, so I'm preparing everyone for this through this kind of metabolic overhaul that we're launching today. Because the Ojas, this power of your pranic kind of capacity, your life reserve, your youth, can be, if you know how, can be recycled, regenerated, and replenished throughout your whole chronology, and you will be vital, and your skin will be vital, and your organs will be vital, and your blood will be vital, and your mind will be clear into the day you die. Don't you want to live that way and die that way? We don't have any role models for this. I just saw so many, there was just all these pictures of Donald Trump eating fast food. It's really gross. Like all these different types of fast food, which creates a certain kind of, consciousness, because we are what we eat. So Yogi Bhajan says this. He says, Ojas is the energy that keeps the face young and glowing. Ojas, sexual energy, in other words. You don't have to buy that rhino's horn for thousands of pounds, ground rhino's horn to put on your face or, whatever. These 3 things are required for body youthfulness. Baby face. We become adult. Everybody loses that baby face. I've seen people 60, 70 years old, absolutely baby face. These 3 things are their everyday diet. It is a couple $2 billion worth of business to keep the face lift, the face this, the face that, face. What they do when they go to a beauty shop with a face, pick up their pimples and all that. What do they call the process? The students are like, a facial. Yogi Bhajan says facial, about $60. Now it's about, depending on how much, whatever stem cells you get, it's much more than that. Something like that. If you eat $60 worth of lotus root and water chestnuts and sweet potato, you will have a better face than you can look in the mirror. So these are like these little kind of gems that he gave. That anybody eating lotus root and water chestnuts? Yeah, exactly. So he said, there is nothing in sex and there is nothing without sex. And disgrace we cause to a woman as a toy of enjoyment and sensuality and sexuality, and we call her a chick. So this is when he came to America and he looked around and he was like, this is a place where women are free, but we call the women chicks. He said, the woman's an eagle. He said, on the other hand, there's a whole barrage of this abstinence and all these stories of all this non-sexual activity is right. Then the world population would have come to 0 by now. You were all born of sex, you live for sex, you die for sex, and it is a science. This science we do not know in the West, and we don't know it in the East either. In the East, the tragedy is, don't touch a woman, hell with it. If the mother would not have turned her blood into the milk, how is this Swami and this celibate, how would he ever come to be? Yogi Bhajan was very against celibacy. He, as we've seen in many different arenas, celibacy doesn't work, i.e. the Catholic Church and some other things. So we know that doesn't work. And whatever the bull he is talking, he would have never been in existence. In between there lies a real sensitivity of creativity. And the pituitary commands the second chakra. Did you know that? Your pituitary gland commands your second chakra. That's pretty cool. And we're going to go into this whole pituitary gland and how that all works. The sensuality, the sexuality, the humanity, and that's the science we are going to discuss here. And that is the science of the Ojas, your vitality and how to utilize it. And so he goes, Ojas feeds the brain cells for mastery. The Oja, this energy, is maintained in the being so the brain cells can be fed. And so if you know how to have vital Ojas in your body, you don't get senile. Very important. I don't know about you guys, but, many of us have older parents, and it's one of the hardest things to watch in the world to see that kind of the dementia of the mind go. Forget about the body. Ojas gives nerve strength and universal consciousness. So the best course for a man is 2 ways. Either he should expand his ego to make it a universal ego, because a man's ego, is a very delicate situation. So you have a couple choices. Either you expand the ego and make it a universal ego to serve all. I mean, this is good for the men because we're not in a, we want our egos to go away. Well, that's not Kundalini Yoga. We're not trying to have an ego death. We actually are trying to work with the ego. And Yogi Bhajan's like, one way you can work with it is you can expand, as a man particularly, expand the ego to make it a universal ego rather than a kind of small little personal ego. So he should liquefy it to the extent that it should be totally merged with the universal ego. That man's aura shall command the God consciousness. Now, this is scripture, and it's not difficult at all. For both things, we require nervous system strength, nerves, bravery, courage, power, vitality. 26 vertebrae in the body control the nerve centers. Oja, which is the outlet of the semen, is their food. So this whole kind of, I was just talking to some younger people about, like the accessibility of porn and the amount of basically misuse of ejaculation that happens for these boys before they're 27 makes them very weak in their nervous systems, and you can see it. You can actually see it in the younger generation. Not that older generation isn't using the porn too, but it wasn't as readily available. Yogi Bhajan said, what we do before we're 27, especially for men, what you do before you're 27 is determines kind of your vitality into, and since the government's pouring $40 million a year into Viagra, you guys heard this? And then they want to cut, any kind of support for abortions. Yeah. Ojas to become gold. I have got 2,000 of students. I know their problems. Their semen is thin. And women have semen too. It's, we both have ejaculatory fluid. So the semen is thin. The semen has certain stages. It's water thin, then it's thick like a yogurt, then it is brownish thick, then it is very brown. We call it gold, golden thick, or oja. So you're actually, this is science. I know everyone's uncomfortable right now, but this is science. So there's an actual quality to the semen that's that will show you how strong your nerves are and how much your kind of replenishment of your energy is. And again, both women and men have ejaculatory fluid. That is the food of the brain. Your brain floats in the oja, and it requires you to transmute it. And that's obviously the kind of, the basis of how we, just so you know, how we create babies. Okay, everybody? Don't want you to it's not kissing. But so these are the kind of amazing things around vitality and these kind of sciences of how to replenish our own energy. Did you guys know about the Ojas? Yeah, it's not a common thing. We're just not taught how our bodies work and how that determines then our vitality into, and when you feel good, you do good. Bottom line, this is not like when you feel good, you do better.